Alright, so this week we watched the TED Talk, Legal versus Ethical Liability, the Four Crises of Leadership and Culture with Mel Fugate as a speaker. He starts out by saying that an HBR study revealed that 98% of employees reported experiencing unethical behavior at work. I can say I see it all the time, day to day, whenever I clock in at work. But the bad part about it is that unethical behavior has doubled from 1998 to 2011. He starts by saying some examples of unethical behavior are you're punishing your review, which has happened to me. Reputation or opportunities undermined, once again, has happened to me. Yelled or sworn at by boss or coworkers, happens to me. I do it to people sometimes, it happens. And forced to go along, shut up, and the or else treatment. I haven't experienced it firsthand, but I've seen people that have done it or had it happen to them. He says 27% of employees directly experience bullying, which doesn't surprise me at all. But bullying at our level, at higher education level, and the work level is much worse than when we were kids. 48% of employees intentionally decrease their work effort as a result of bullying. 47% intentionally decreases the time spent at work. 63% lost work time avoiding the offender. 66% said a performance declined. 12% said they left because of it. And executives spend 15% or 7 weeks of the year dealing with unethical conduct. As a part-time worker, I see it all the time, and I have decreased the time spent at work, and I have changed my availability so I don't have to work with people just because I don't get along with them anymore. And for the executives part, my managers spend way more time on scheduling because of the reason that people don't want to work with certain managers. But he also says unethical but not illegal. And then he shows the two figures with the hurdles, and that the legality one is way shorter than the ethical one. Legal liability matters, but ethical liability is the higher standard, and that we expect our leaders to achieve. You put in the really good words that I totally agree with is legal liability is a test of smarts. So usually if you break the law, it's common sense or a simple rule that you break and that gets you into legal trouble. Ethical liability is a test of character. Since ethics is a way higher standard for people because it's not illegal if you break an ethical code, that many people don't feel like they have to follow it. But as a leader, you need to have your smarts, but more importantly, you need to have your character in order for people to respect and listen to you. The most common form of unethical leadership is allowing unethical conduct to continue, not knowing or knowingly not acting on it. If you know that unethical leadership is happening but don't do anything, it creates unethical cultures. And unethical cultures therefore reinforce unethical behaviors. So if they go without punishment, it's only going to get worse. He goes through a list of unethical situations in sports, college sports, like the Jared Sandusky case and the Rutgers and all stuff like that. And he mentions that none of that is isolated behaviors. It's all patterns. It clears in one case, and then people see it as it's okay, so it keeps going on and on and on. One of the main reasons it happens, leaders sweep it under the rug like nothing happened, so that means there's no problem, which is very unethical. You should intervene. But when you don't intervene when and where it happens, the unethical behavior escalates. He says the number one rule of leadership is do not delegate ethics. And he has more examples of when leaders aren't punished by their actions. No consequences for leaders makes it seem like it's acceptable for everyone else to do it. they see someone get away with unethical behavior, why should they listen to the ethics when they can get away with it as well? He said some common causes of leaders not being punished are the reputation they have for the business, their performance, like coaches winning many games and championships, or profits and all that stuff. There he says the BBTL syndrome, which is been boss too long. For example, I have a manager that's been there. I have two managers that have been there for decades, and they get away with about anything, which, from my perspective, since I'm not a manager, I hate it. I see where that happens, but I also know that the general managers that have been there longer than them act the same way towards them. So general managers act unethical, the managers therefore act unethical, and then we act unethical, because why not? The whole company does it. He says the code of ethics is nothing if the leaders don't walk the talk, which means like every business has their code of ethics, but if the manager is not going to enforce it and not going to act on it, no one else is, then therefore code of ethics is worthless in the company. He finishes by saying legal does not mean ethical. And that goes back to the little hurdle image that describes it almost perfectly. I 100% agree with Mr. Fugate on all of his, especially since he showed all the statistics, and I see it every day. I've been at the same job for almost 2 years now. I see it every day. It gets bad some days where we just don't get along with each other. We act super unethically because it goes unpunished. No one cares. No one tries to fix it. No one thinks to fix it because they think it's normal now. And once again, all starts at the top, and then it just kind of changes its way down. Because unethical leadership breeds unethical cultures, and unethical cultures create unethical behaviors. Thank you.